everybody. I am going live. This is my first video on this channel. And the reason that I wanted to do this video and the reason that I called it I Don't Judge is because apparently there's a lot of people that like to judge. But let me let you know that this is not an evangelical platform. But even though it's not an evangelical platform, I will let you all know that I was raised in the Pentecostal pews of the Assemblies of God Church. So that doesn't mean that I don't know the Bible. It just means that I don't go to church. That's all it means. I don't go to church. I have been allowing for the last 4 months people to judge and say things, and I just am amazed. Hi Lupe Ramirez. Hi Maria Gonzalez. And I just wanted to let you know that you can judge me here, but at the end of our life, we will have to answer for ourselves. And there are a few people that have made me pull the Bible out. And I've had this English Bible since, let me see. It was given to me by Evita on Mother's Day, I want to say of 1990. So I've had it for more than 30 years. And I was surprised yesterday by somebody telling me that, oh, we wanted to go to church on Sunday, Easter Sunday, and we should be ashamed because all we are is witches. And I am like amazed that everybody in the United States could celebrate Halloween except Ophelia and me. Ophelia and me were doing a show for Halloween, and all of a sudden we're witches. Wow. It amazes me how people like to judge others. Now Romans 14:12 says, so then every one of us shall give account of himself to God. That doesn't say that I'm going to go and answer for Ophelia, whatever Ophelia's doing. Or Ophelia's going to answer for me, whatever I did during my life. It says every one of us will give account for ourselves to God. It doesn't say that I'm going to go and say, well, Ophelia did this, and this, and this. No. What did I do during my life to please God? While you all are judging me and saying that I'm a witch because I did a Halloween show that was allowed throughout the United States and throughout the world. It wasn't just Halloween in the United States or just Halloween on Jim Street. It was Halloween all over the world. They had a big old slide of people in Korea during Halloween. A lot of people died during Halloween on that slide of people, but the only ones that are being judged here are Ophelia and Angie for being witches. Oh, witches without pay. You know, it's like, really? I'm so glad that there is parts of the Bible that tell me that I will answer for my actions when I die. I'm not going to answer for anybody's, and I'm not going to cover up for anybody when I die. When I die, I will answer for what I did. And what I did that day was legal in the United States and all over the world. All Hallows Eve is legal all over the world. But apparently, some people want to criticize because we did a show for Halloween and we went to church on Easter Sunday. Just because you do a show of I'm going to go to church every Sunday doesn't mean that you're not bending the elbow everywhere else. And I'm not saying that bending the elbow is bad, because even Jesus made wine. At the end, hi Alma Gomez. At the end of the day, you will account for your own actions, not for mine. I will account for mine. And like I said, this is not a Pentecostal platform, but I'm putting some people straight, and I'm not going to mention anybody's name about me being a witch or my sister being a witch or us being witches and still going to church. Be real careful about how you judge. Romans 14:12 says, so then every one of us shall give an account of himself to God. Now Romans 14:4 says, who art thou to judge another man's servant? To his own master he straightens or falleth. Yeah, he shall be holden up, for God is able to make him stand. So my only master is God, and he can hold me and make me stand. A lot of people are being asking, well, how's Angie doing it? She hasn't been working since November. Because el que me mantiene a mí es dueño de todo. He that supports me owns everything in this world. Everything. And it's his job to know if I'm going to fall, if he's going to close a door on me or open a window. But at the end of the month, it's also his job to know how much money I need to pay the bills in this house that I'm living in to keep going for the next month. Since November, I have been real quiet about what's going on and all the stuff that's going on in this town. That doesn't mean that I'm not angry. I am angry. I'm very angry. Because I'm losing a lot. But I'm not falling anywhere. I'm being maintained at a level where I've been all this time. And that's what amazes a lot of people. How is she able to do it with the minimum amount of income? I'm at a zero income. But even being at a zero income, my bills are getting paid. Even being at a zero income, I'm still going places. Even if it means that somebody's telling me, hey, get ready because we're gone. I'll be ready and somebody else is paying for everything. But I'm still there, enjoying the ride. And that's what makes other people angry. Well, too bad. Too bad. Maybe if you behaved better, God would take care better of you. You know, maybe if you wouldn't be judging so much about whether or not I'm a witch or my sister's a witch or we're not witches. At the end of the day, at the end of my life, if I was a witch and did anything wrong here while I was supposed to be in the living realm, somebody will take care of me and what I did in the spiritual realm, and it's not going to be you. You know, that's what you need to understand. You're not paying my bills. You're never going to be paying my bills, but you like to be stretching your tongue. And again, I'm not mentioning anybody's name. I don't need to be mentioning anybody's name. Hi, Pavo Reales Unidos. But, you know, there's plenty of Bible verses that I could throw to you to tell you that at the end of your existence or my existence, you will answer for what you did during your life. I wanted to do this video before I start working porque me peiné. I have to cut the yard. And it's getting hot out there, but it's just a short video of what's going on, how people are like talking smack. And I laugh. It's like funny to me. Even talking smack, like, oh, Gongora was at the game room and she was arguing with people at the game room. No, I don't argue with anybody at the game room. Everybody already knows that these game rooms pay $3.49 for a 24-pack of water. That's less than 15 cents a bottle of water. And they want to argue with you about you can't take the bottle of water out. Just give it back to them at the door. It's like, and then you go and embarrass them at another game room, and then they don't have that many cars parked in their parking lot because there's other game rooms in Willacy County. Lots of them. So it's like, you don't have to go to that one. Why? And I mean, I'm not talking about anybody. I'm not mentioning anybody, but anybody's game room. I'm just saying, it's like last week, Ophelia's uncle, because I'm not claiming that man, decided to scream vulgarities in the front of HEB and then to me and my sister Frances, and then he got mad. And the manager's like, you can't be screaming vulgarities here, or I'll call the police. And he tells the manager, call the police. And we're standing there looking at him. The camera's right, HEB's camera is right there at the door looking at us at what we were doing. We were having a simple conversation with somebody else, and he decided to turn around and butt in. And Frances kept kicking my side and saying, he's going to have a heart attack. He's going to have a heart attack. And I'm like, que aguante la vara. Si él decidió venir, he decided to come to where we were to start an argument that had nothing to do with him, just because he wants to call me a lesbian or scream it out in the middle of a parking lot. I can say what people say about me. Doesn't matter. If you call me a lesbian, if you call me a whatever you want to call me. I'm 58 years old. I live my own life. Whatever I do, I will answer to God, not to you. And it's like he was screaming and yelling. Hi, LV Raiders. He was screaming and yelling at me, and then he's looking at Frances and then started in on her, and Frances looks at him real calm. And she's like, I don't know you. And I was laughing even more because she was like, I don't know you, real calm. And he started getting more angry. Hi, Gina. He was getting more angry and more angry. And he was like, you already forgot that I'm your dad's brother. And we're like, oh, so you remembered that you were our dad's brother, but you already forgot why we stopped talking to you because you said he wasn't our dad. So he was telling the manager to call the police. Hi, Pepe, Landstocking. Hi, Rosina. And he decides to get in his car and leave. And I'm standing there like, really? He just left. He tells this manager to call the police, and he leaves. This is the second time that man embarrasses me in front of people at different stores here in Raymondville, and I have to tell him, los jotos no aprenden. So he's like leaving. So I decide to get in my truck, and then when I get in the truck, 3 big old SUVs or whatever you call them, those big Suburbans from the police department, were in the parking lot of HEB. Well, of course, they're right next door, right? And I'm looking at them like, really? So, of course, I had to get off of the truck. And I get off of my truck, and I'm like, any other day, and I told the officers, any other day, this town would have already only had 1 police officer on duty. And it was after dark, so it was already nighttime. But we have 3 in this parking lot. What's going on? Well, we were called over here. Who was he? I'm like, Rafa, the town fag. He's our uncle. It was him. But he already left, so don't say that you don't know where he lives. You know where he lives. I'm like, that's not the first time that he does that to me, where he wants to be screaming and yelling vulgarities. And it's like, if you weren't frustrated, you wouldn't be worried about if I'm whatever I'm doing or not doing. And he lives a block away from me. But he decides to do it at particular times, like when I'm at the store, and it's like getting old. 2 times is old. Linda Netro, yes, I'm having an awesome day. I went with Martina to eat breakfast, and I'm trying to avoid cutting the yard, but I have to go do that. But I was letting everybody know that even though I was raised in the Pentecostal pews of the church, the Assemblies of God church, I don't go to church. And on Sunday, Easter Sunday, I went to church because we were visiting my daughter Evita, who does go to church. So Ofelia and me and Sirena went with Evita and her kids to church in the Houston area. And then we came home, and by Monday everybody was saying that how could they allow witches to be in the church or go to church? But it's just illiterate people that talk that way, because, you know, All Hallows Eve is celebrated all over the world, and they want to just blame me and Ophelia for Halloween party that we did. So we became witches on Halloween, and since Halloween, it's been going on and on and on and on and on every day. I'm not mentioning anybody, but the sum of it is that at the end of our life, we answer for not other people, but for ourselves to God. And these people need to understand that. It doesn't matter to me what they say. At the end of the day, nobody's paying bills around here except me. You know, and it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long it takes me to go back to work. I will go back to work. Eventually. Eventually means that when God opens the next door, I'll be going back to work. But I will be working for the same amount of money I was making before. Because why? He owns everything, not the people that talk smack. So I just wanted to let you all know that I just started this channel. Please subscribe. I will be doing lives probably in the mornings, but not at 10, because that's Ophelia hour. But I'm not going to be doing long lives. I'm more of a TikToker, so mine's are going to be shorts. I sure am worth it, Gina. You know, the only thing that I don't like is for people to think that they can cross the line in the front of an HEB or in the line of a Dollar General or a Dollar Tree store here in Willacy County, and because they were or are, but it's more like were because my dad's been dead for 40 years. My dad's brothers, that we're supposed to respect them. And you all know my motto for respect is like a ball. When you throw it, it's supposed to come back. But when somebody loses respect by saying that you're not his brother's children, there makes a difference. He was repeatedly saying that we were not his brother's children. That means that he was talking bad about our mother. So Ophelia started talking bad about his, and we stopped talking to him altogether. He crossed the line. When he crossed the line an X amount of times, you can let the first one and the second one slide, but when he's constantly doing it, then you stop talking to that person. So it doesn't matter to me where I see him, he's a -0. I keep going. He crossed the line first. You know, there's a little saying that, on TikTok that, you know, respect is like money. You can ask for it, but it's better to earn it. And he has not earned anything by saying that we are not his brother's children. He didn't pay for our dad's funeral. He didn't pay for our dad's grave or monument. And he didn't pay for our mom's grave or monument. So once mom and dad were gone, and he kept at it about we were not our dad's children, he lost our respect. But he's one of these people, and I don't know if it's just people from the gay community in general, because there's other people around here that do that. You know, when they want attention, they want to be screaming and yelling in the middle of a store or in the middle of a parking lot, and you're just looking at them like, really? You know, I haven't gotten the kind of federal jobs that I've gotten because I like to be screaming and yelling in the middle of a parking lot at a grocery store, but I'll be damned if I'm going to let you scream and yell at me and I'm not going to tell you nothing back. You forget what kind of a Mexican I am. And you forget these are gray hairs. These is not colored hair. I'm 58 years old. I will not allow anybody to talk smack to me and just be getting away with it. I'm 58 years old. I have paved my own way. Nobody has given me anything on a silver platter. Our mom showed us how to work for what we have. And if you don't like it because I own this little shack, too bad. I bought this little shack in 2005 before I started working for any of these federal prisons or had any federal jobs. I already owned this house with the sweat of my brow, like it says. So I will not allow anybody to be saying that I slept with somebody to have what I have. And there makes a difference when you have somebody like that. And I'm not talking bad about anybody in the LGBTQ+2 community. I don't really care what you all do. Just do it behind your doors and that's fine with me. You know, my best friend has been married for 5 years. And he's happily married with his husband. You know, so, and I have no problem with anybody in that community, but this man is related to me, unfortunately. But I can't say that I disowned him because that's what he earned. To be disowned by your nieces that always talk to you and went out with you or whatever has got to hurt, but that's what you earned. And like I said, I'm not talking about anybody else. But that's been going on in this community, and it's like, oh my gosh, when am I going to get another job so I can get out of here? But it'll be soon. It'll be soon. I'm waiting for a call. Already got 2 emails, so I'm waiting for a call. I'm still working for Rakana. I still am in suspended mode, but that hasn't stopped me from trying to look for another job. I have to try to look for another job until I go to court or whatever it is I have to do. But these people are something else. I'm going to let you all go because I do have to cut the yard and I don't want to do it, but it has to be done. So don't forget to share and subscribe to this channel because I need to get to 1,000. This is a new channel, I guess. They changed it. I thought I had more subscribers, but something happened. But thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you all later.